Y'all planning for this?
Hello, TPR Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Tips from the Trenches. I am not one of your co-hosts. This is actually Stephen Jarvis, head CPA at Retirement Tax Services. Matt and Micah, of course, are doing surge meetings with their clients and delivering massive value. So they asked me to come on and do an episode for all of you specific to tips from the trenches on taxes. And I'm really excited to be doing this because in just a couple of weeks later in April, Micah and I will be teaming up to do a great online session all about mistakes that advisors make when it comes to taxes. And I want to talk about just one of those today because it came up this week, because this is Tips from the Trenches, it's got to be real, came up this week working with a client who had done some QCDs, some qualified charitable distributions in 2021. And thankfully, this client works with an advisor who's an RTS Premier member who has a real emphasis on tax planning and had let the client know that they needed to send along some information for us to prepare to let us know that, in fact, a 1099 they were receiving was communicating a QCD. And this is really important because 1099s do not have a place to tell tax preparers like me and my team that a distribution was a QCD. In fact, this 1099 reported the entire amount as taxable, which is really common for QCDs. And it marked a little box on line 2B that said the taxable amount could not be determined, which of course is completely unhelpful because in one place, the 1099 says, hey, here's taxable amount. And then a line below it, it says, wait, we couldn't determine the taxable amount. So like I said, thankfully, this taxpayer works with an advisor whose RTS member knows the importance of communicating this stuff. But a mistake that so many advisors make on taxes is not taking responsibility for making sure that great planning strategies like QCDs are being communicated and reported effectively. Now, there's a couple of different ways that we can handle this from the advisor perspective. This is a great thing to include in a year-end 1099 letter as you let a client know and then can share that information with their tax preparer of here's the 1099s you can expect to have comments in there or notes to say, hey, this 1099 from Fidelity or Schwab or whoever it is, this is actually a QCD, so we need to make sure it gets reported as such. We also want to make sure that this is on our list of reasons that we are getting tax returns and reviewing those tax returns. This is something we can have a member of our team do. This doesn't have to be you as the advisor reviewing for this, but for a client who had a QCD during the year, you should absolutely be getting their 1040 and all of the supporting schedules so that you can check and see, okay, was this distribution reported, but then reported not as taxable? Because otherwise we've missed the whole value of from a tax standpoint of doing a QCD. Of course, we've still supported a great charity, and that's the reason that clients do this. But if we're going to take the time to support the charity, we may as well make sure we're doing it tax efficiently to give your client, to give the taxpayer more power and more flexibility in how they can support those great organizations. So this is just one of the mistakes that we're going to talk about and go into even more depth on April 27th at 8 a.m. Pacific. You can go to retirementtaxservices.com/welcome to get signed up. Like I said, I'm going to be teaming up with Micah to do this session. We're going to cover 7 mistakes in total. We're going to have the handouts that go along with them. It's going to be a really great session and really focuses on this theme of tips from the trenches, because this is all coming both from my perspective as a tax preparer who works with advisors, as well as Micah's perspective as an advisor of these common mistakes that advisors make when it comes to tax planning. So hope to see you all or hear you all. You can come see me on April 27th. And until then, happy tax planning.
Hold on before we go. Something that you need to know. This isn't tax, legal, or investment advice. That isn't our intent. Information designed to change lives. Financial planning can make you thrive. Start today, don't think twice. Be a better husband, father, mother, and wife. The perfect RIA, the perfect RIA.